Hello, me again. As promised and by request, I'm going to show you how to make something. I'm going to make a poppy. And we've done a few metal shaping videos, some little tutorials. They've been well received. I enjoyed doing those. But it's not like you're making anything. It's a case of just put a nameless shrink in a panel and that's it, done. This has got all the same ingredients. It's got all the same shaping techniques, but you actually have a little poppy at the end of it. And it's also a case of a lot of people look and go, oh no, that looks difficult. It really isn't. You know, there's no such word as can't. It's made of rubbish from the bin, very simple processes, and anyone could do this. You know, the kids could make these. So I'll break it into little bits for you. I'll show you all the various stages, and hopefully you can raid the bin and get some bits and pieces and finish up with one of these, which would be really nice. Right, the basic elements of what our little flower's made of. The original challenge was to make something from Coke cans. So that is a Coke can. It's actually one of these. Other colours are available, but that's what that is. That's one of those. So I'll show you how to dismantle that safely and turn it into some petals presently. The leaf, that could be a piece of Coke can, but in this instance it's not, because I found a dog food tin in the bin with a nice texture. So that got dismantled and turned into the leaf, just because it looks kind of leafy when you do that with it. And the stem is a piece of 1/4-inch brake pipe. Any car repair shop, quick fit, motor factors, anything. I had a quick look on Google. You can get 25 feet of that for 11 quid. So you could keep a couple to make your flowers and then sell the rest to your mates who you've suggested build a flower and sell them at 2 quid a foot and make yourself a profit. So that's what that is. That's the leaf. That's the flower. And you'll need a self-tapping screw just to hold it all together, and some acrylic paint or nail varnish or whatever else to put the colours on. And that's all it is. That's it. Okay, serious science here. Metallurgy, you need to know this. That is a very, very thin and hard aluminium, and it's also painted a multitude of different colours, and it's much nicer if you can get the paint off. Now, paint stripper will take that off. If you've got some paint stripper, just cover it, run it under the tap, and the paint will come straight off that. Otherwise, some light abrasive, and that will take it off. But herein lies the problem, because the tin's empty and it'll just collapse, and it makes that difficult. So for purely metallurgical reasons, I would suggest a material more like this. Obviously full, because it needs to be firm so you can sand it. It has much better properties. This is grown-up flowers. Kids, you'll have to stick with that, unfortunately. And what I suggest you do is stockpile a few of these, because you may have to do it a few times, perhaps 3 dozen or so. Keep them cold, because that makes it easier to sand them down, and that's nice and firm. So now you can get on with your abrasive if you haven't got any paint stripper, and that will shine up in no time flat. And you can just go around there, and there you go. Once you've got that clean, obviously open it and dispose of the contents any way you please, and there you go. You'll have a starting point with your material. So, how to dismantle a tin? You probably think this is all going to be razor sharp and horrible, and it isn't actually. If you tear it, you know, you crunch it up to put it in the bin and it tears, you'll get sharp edges there. But when you cut it, it's not especially sharp. I just use a bread knife. That'll get you most of the way. Just want some coconut over that. Ah, look at that mess. Snip. Now do be careful of little pointy bits, because they will stab you. That isn't particularly sharp. You know, that won't cut you. Not easily. I mean, you can cut yourself if you try, but it won't automatically slice your fingers open. And you can get your scissors in. Be careful if you borrow the kitchen scissors, put them back where you found them. Because although it won't hurt them, cutting a piece of aluminium can any more than it would hurt them cutting a bit of paper, if you get caught using them for stuff like this, it can lead to trouble, as I've found in the past. Just be careful these little shards, just take them off, because although it won't cut you, it will stab you. And you cut that open, there you have one dismantle tin. Again, that's not sharp, that will not do you any harm. Even the corners aren't particularly pointy, so don't be frightened of it. It's not bad stuff. Make sure you put that in your recycle bin. Save the planet. There you go. Right, this bit is serious, because this is where it could all go terribly wrong and you burn your house down. Because what we've got to do is to change the properties of that. That is just like a spring. It's made that way so your fizzy drinks tin is nice and strong. And we've got to get rid of that property. Now I'm going to do it just with a gas torch, just to show you the difference. The ones on the flour that I made at home, I just did on the gas cooker, which I'll show how to do that as well. But just for now, just to demonstrate, I'm going to use this. It is a bit smoky, and that's because the inside of the tin has a plastic coat for your drink, but flashed over with a little bit of heat. And now you can bend it, push it, do anything you want with it now. It's lost all that spring. It's now just like a sweet wrapper. And that's where you have to get it to. So be careful doing that. We don't want to hear of you burning your house down. But that's what you have to achieve. Anatomy of a poppy. Very, very simple flower. 4 petals. There's 2 at the back, 2 at the front, 90 degrees opposed to each other. Ones at the back are quite a broad D shape, and the ones at the front are almost circular. So what I've done is taken dog food tin from the bin. Have a look in your cupboard, you'll find something to suit. Stick it on there, draw around it 2 circles. This will form the lower pair of petals, so they just have a little slice out of there. And I know this because I went down the garden and got a poppy and took it to pieces for a look. So you've got these kind of D-shaped petals at the back, at the centre there, and the front ones are much more rounded, like a figure of 8, the centre there, but the diameter is the same. So you need to mark those off, and it doesn't matter if they're a little bit adrift, because no 2 flowers are the same. They're like people, they come in all shapes and sizes, and yours can't be wrong and mine can't be right, because like I said, they're all different. So get it near as, get your scissors and cut those shapes out, and then put the kitchen scissors back where you found them. Simple as that. It's like being back at school, this. When I was at school, I had a big box of scissors, and the teacher would get you to cut your drawing out and pin it on the wall. And in this big box of scissors, there's one tiny little pair of nail scissors, and everybody used to fight to have these little ornate scissors. And the teacher would never let me have these little scissors, because the teacher always said that my artwork was too good to ruin with these horrible little scissors. And I should have been flattered, but I was actually terribly insulted, because I wanted the scissors and all my friends got the scissors and I never got the scissors. The fact that their artwork was rubbish and mine was brilliant never crossed my mind. And I haven't got any of it to see if it really was any good. But anyway, I always think of that when I cut stuff out with scissors. Gotta think of something. Yeah, I haven't got a scissor story for the second half. That's the sum total of my scissor stories. This isn't particularly symmetrical. But like I said, it doesn't matter, because nature isn't great at symmetry. And it still looks like a figure of 8. Don't forget to put the little These are really, once you've softened it, you really can't stab yourself with one of these. So you're double safe once you've set fire to the kitchen, assuming the fire doesn't get out of control. There you have it. Give that little, just trim that in. There, look at that, petals. You probably want to draw it a bit more carefully than I did. There you go, there are petals. Little petals cut out. Now, point I want to make here is the whole thing with the gas torch and the smoke and the flames and the fire is not representative of how you should change the material properties. Really what you should do is cut these out first. You'll have to hold it down a bit because it wants to be springy. Cut these out first, clean the back off to get the plastic coat off, paint stripper, take it off, you can sand it off, whichever way you want to do it. So you've got your bits of material, and then get a hold of it with something, and just pretend that's your gas ring on your cooker, and just gently cook it over the gas, and just keep trying it. I mean, obviously don't burn yourself on it. Just keep trying it until you've got the property you want, and that way you haven't got all the smoke and the fire and all the rest of it. So that's really how you should do it. That little thing, in case you're wondering, I don't expect anybody to have one of these. This is for removing objects from children's ears and noses and things like that. And it came as part of a kit at the local hospital with a suture kit. So the nurses open the suture kit to stitch up a split head, and the rest of the kit goes straight in the bin unused. So needless to say, we get amongst the bins. Great for getting rivet stems out of frame tubes. Just a little interesting thing for you. This material, very springy, and this is an optional stage. You can just about get away with it if you don't fancy trying it. If you imagine that's your gas cooker at home, and you get your piece of material and just gently warm it on the flame. It's just a bit of plastic going off. There. It's not twangy anymore, and that is a million times easier to work with. So if you get a little petal and get some tweezers or something and just warm it through on the gas fire. Gas fire? Not on the gas fire, on the gas cooker. Just put it on your hob and just give it some of that. It's perfectly safe. Whee! And there it goes. All the temper's gone out of the metal. It's gone really, really soft. Do anything you want with it now. And that's that prepared for the next stage. Like I say, if you don't want to do it, you can just about get by without it. But it's a nice touch if you fancy it. Another thing you can do to give your puppy a little bit of life is just to run down the edge and just serrate it a little bit, because that's kind of how it really goes. There you go. Likewise over there. Might get to use the little tiny scissors for this actually, if I ask nicely. I suspect they've long gone in the scrap. There, that just gives a little bit of life. And then this is the artistic bit. This is the bit where you're going to have to use a little bit of artistry. This is a little kit of parts I got from Hobbycraft for a few quid. This is for embossing card. It's not expensive. You get 3 of those. This is basically a little tiny wheeling machine in effect for this. You don't have to buy any kit. I mean, that could be a dead flip-flop. You know, my dog keeps eating my flip-flops, so I've got all sorts of flip-flops with the toes off and things, so it's like that, so you could use that. That could be the blunt end of a pencil, it could be the end of your toothbrush, or anything. You don't need any special equipment. And what you want to do, I mean, go to Hobbycraft and buy one, it's great, is just to start to stretch the metal in the middle. And that's like the wheeling machine demonstration that I showed the other day. So it's stretching. I'm going to stretch in the middle. And already your petal's got a bit of life. Look, it's starting to look like a flower. And the more you stretch that, stretch out from the center, because that's kind of the way flowers go. And it's like the panel that we had in the wheeling machine. You have to stretch all of it. There you go. That's putting a nice stretch in the back. Right, it's turned into a flower already, and it's shone the metal up. It's got a little bit of shape to it, and that's essentially how you do it. And you can run around the back and turn the edge with a bit of a stretch there. Right. Doesn't require any force. So what you're doing now, you see where you put the stretches. You can make that 3 feet across if you wanted to. How simple is that? I told you it was easy. There you go. Gonna make a stem. Originally, I made it with a bit of brake pipe because that's what I had lying around. And if you've got some, you can do it that way. That's fine. If you haven't, you might want to nip to Hobby Craft or find some nice soft wire. This is for making cardboard flowers. It comes on a roll like that. Hobbycraft, cheap. A couple of bits here that have had some shape pushed in them. So we're going to make a stem to go with that. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap the wire around a screwdriver like this. And just put a few turns on there. Let that go in. That's it, till we've got it. There you go. And then I'm just going to trim the loose end off. And then I'm just going to bend it around. And that will form the stem. We're going to put a couple of holes through here. We're going to slide the petals down, glue them on so it won't move, bend the end over. That'll hang on a shelf or wherever until your glue's gone solid. And there you've got most of your poppy stuck together. Polyurethane glue pretty much anything, certainly sticks empty Coke tins together. And there you have it. So we'll do another little video just of the assembly, so you can have a look at that, but otherwise, there's your stem. Last bit, we're going to do the leaf, which you can just draw out on a piece of your material. They're spiky little things, points on them, so just guess at it. It's what, about 4 inches long, something like that. I'll tweet a picture of it. And once you've cut it out, what we're going to do, because we want it to grow away from the stem and it's got natural curves, we're going to turn that on its back. Just get a little screwdriver, the one you wrap the stem around, and just put it there and give it a push. And what that'll do is just turn those edges. And then what you can do is you can put it onto a piece of your wire that you've used for the stem and just wrap it over so that it fits around there like that. And then what we'll do is we'll glue that on and you'll have a little leaf growing on the stem just to finish the job. See? Simple, as I keep saying. So we'll glue that on in a minute. Almost there. Final assembly. Take your stem that you've put a little coiled end on. Put on your first petal. Don't forget to put it the right way out. Take some glue. Any glue will do. You can do it with nail glue, arrow dye. This is, not sure what this is, wood glue, polyurethane glue this is. Put a little squirt of that on. Put your next petal on. Slide it down. Make sure that you've got them lined up to your satisfaction. So anything you like, just, it's your art. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Give that a bit of a squeeze. Turn the end over. And you can hang that and it will just sit the right way. And then you've got your leaf, which again, put it where you like. Glue it on. And just leave the whole assembly hang up for a little while till the glue goes off. There you are. All you have to do now is paint it pretty colours. Again, it's your art. Anything you like. Yellow, green, blue, whatever. Nail varnish, acrylic. Acrylic works very well because you can texture acrylic. But whatever comes to hand. And there you go. You've just made a poppy. I told you it was simple. Off you go. Tell your friends.